In this tutorial, I will teach you how to set up Eclipse to develop Android applications. And in the following tutorials, I will teach you how to make your very first Android application. No programming skills needed. I will teach you everything. So, the first thing that you do is open up your internet browser. Go to developer.android.com. Then click on Get the SDK. Now, this SDK bundle will come with the development environment Eclipse, the ADT plugin, Android SDK tools, Android platform tools, the latest Android app platform, and the latest Android system image for the Android emulator. This is a very handy bundle because in the past you would have to download the tools separately from Eclipse, and sometimes it really didn't like you. Now, what we're going to do is click download the SDK and choose your architecture and agree to the above conditions. Click download the SDK. Now, since I don't want you to wait 18, 17 minutes for this to get done, I will pause the recording. Alright, it's done. Now, the next thing that you're going to do is open it up. Open it up here. Now, this is what it is. It's ADT bundle, Windows x86 64. Let's just go into the zip here. Copy this. Go back to the folder that you want to paste it in, that you want to put your Android stuff in. Paste it, and wait for it to copy, which is a lot of stuff to copy. 584 megabytes to be exact. Alrighty, we're almost done. We got 4.5 megabytes left to copy. Hopefully this will go faster. It has been irritating. Okay, so while that's doing that, let's just see what's in here. Alright, so it's done. Now, first thing that we're going to need to do is to make a desktop shortcut, which I just took the liberty of doing. So, minimize all this to the desktop, and it's right there. Start it up. Run. Ooh, look at that. That's pretty neat looking, isn't it? Since this will probably take a while to load, you're going to need to specify the workspace. So, I'm going to set mine to the Android tutorial folder that I made before. Call this workspace. The workspace is it contains everything that you do, and I'll show you that later. Alright, and it's up. Now the first thing that you'll see is this page. Now, this has a bunch of handy tools, including a tutorial on how to build your first app, design your app, and test your app. However, that's what I'm here for. So let's just click that little restore button. Now this is the Package Explorer. This is what is in your workspace. Now, if we open up your workspace here, right now there's nothing but the metadata folder. That means that you haven't created any projects at all. So the first thing that we're going to do is create a brand new Android application project. Now, I'm going to name our application. In this case, it's going to be First App. Now, what you should name your package is the name of your specific website backwards. So if it was www.google.com, it would be com.google.www. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make an example website name. It doesn't actually have to be a real website name. It could just be something like com.blakeisawesome. Anything else. So what I'm going to make it is com.example. First app. Now, the minimum required SDK. If you want to reach the maximum number of users, set it to 3.0. And for the target SDK, that is which version of Android do you want to use to make this application. We're just going to leave it as standard 4.1 or 4.2. Now we can choose the theme now, which Hollow Dark is pretty neat looking. Hollow Light is too, but I like Hollow Light with dark action bar. So I'm going to leave that too. Now, we're going to create a custom launcher icon, create activity, and not mark this project as a library. Otherwise, it will not run. Now, this is the next step, creating your launcher icon. You can either choose from clip art. Look at all these options here. Look at that. It turns out great either way you go. Or you can choose the default Android image file or a custom image file from your computer. Or you can just make it text. Da-da-da. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this a world, because I think that looks pretty cool. Now I'm not going to explain too much of what this is, but additional padding, that just makes it smaller or larger, just like for safety purposes. It really makes no difference. Now you can make the shape of the outline none, square, or circle. That's pretty self-evident. I'm going to make mine none because I think this looks pretty cool by itself. So, with that said, let's move on. Now, for right now, let's just create a blank activity because, honestly, you don't need to learn how to use all this. This is all pretty advanced stuff. Alright, so this is the name of our main activity. This is the thing that runs first. It's generally okay if you name it main activity, unless you have multiple activities that you use that have many main functions. So, but for our activity, that's going to be fine. So let's just click finish. So this is our app. And first of all, let's delete this hello world because we don't want it. Now, what can we do? The answer to that question is pretty much anything we want. So, what I'm going to teach you how to make is a program that solves the quadratic formula for you. Now, this might be a little bit hard, in which case, skip to the next tutorial. This is our first application. Funny stuff. So what I'm going to do on this application is show you how to make a functional application that's easy to make that you can do a bunch of stuff with. So let's see. First thing that comes to mind is a program that adds two numbers or multiplies two numbers. So we are going to delete the hello world to start out with, and yeah. Now, so the first thing we need to add is a layout, and what it's called is a linear layout vertical. And this, so click and drag onto here, should fill up the entire thing. Now, what this linear layout does is it stacks all these little widgets, as they're called, on top of each other and makes for really easy organization. It looks like crap, but it's really easy to organize. So, once we have this linear layout here on the app, we can go back to Form Widgets, add a text view, which basically shows text on the screen. So click and drag right here. Uh-oh, now that's an issue. So delete that, click on the linear layout one. Looks like we forgot to set some parameters. So now what we're going to do is set the width and height of this linear layout. Alright, right click on it, set the layout width to match parent, and then do the same thing for height. Alright, now expand that all the way to the left, and you should have a pretty neat looking white linear layout. Ho ho ho! So we're going to re-add that text view to our linear layout. It should just snap right there. That's good. Now, we are going to edit the text. But, see, Android does not like anything that is not a string value. Basically, imagine a string with a bunch of letter beads on it. That's what we're going to make here. So, we are going to make a new string. We're going to type out the string, or the letters that we want it to say, right here. So, we are going to say number 1. Now, this will have an ID, so that way we can ID it later, of num1. Click OK, and you're good. Click on num1, click OK, and it should update to say number 1. There we go. Now, what we're going to do is assign an ID to this text view. We're just going to call this the same as the string ID that we just made, which is num1. So, next thing we need to do is add a text box, which is a place to put in text, right under the number 1 text view. So click on text fields. See this plain text widget with ABC inside of it? Click and drag that under number 1. Should snap right here, and that's pretty much good. Now, we're going to need to assign another ID to this, or an ID to this widget as well. And we're going to call this num1 text, because it's the text that we're going to use as number 1. Now, let's just duplicate this entire thing again. So, let's add text view, right click, edit text, new string, type in number 2, so the num2, OK, click on num2, OK. Assign the ID to this of num2, text field, ABC, edit text, assign an ID to this edit text, and it's going to be num2 text. Alright, now we're going to get to the interesting stuff now, which is placing a button that actually does it. So we're going to add a button. Drag it out, same way. Now make this the entire size of the thing here, and right click on it over here, and click Edit ID. This is going to be, let's just leave it as button 1.